Welcome to the Coffee with Closers show, where we interview real investors that are doing real deals in this current market about how they are finding, funding, and flipping the deals. We talk about what they are doing that is working and the things they did that didn't work so that you can save time and money as you become a real investor. Welcome to the Coffee with Closers show. Hey guys, we're back with another show with your Coffee with Closers. Yes, this is the only show out there where you talk to real investors doing real deals in a real market and how they're winning with their unique strategies. And I'm super excited to be doing this Coffee with Closers because, well, this one's special to me because it goes way back. In my interview that I'm doing today is with Mr. Larry Goins. Larry, say hi to everybody.
Hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? This is good for me because I got somebody on here that kind of has a similar accent as I do.
How you doing?
How you doing? But listen, guys, remember, if you get value out of any of our Coffee with Closure shows or any of the thousands of videos we put on YouTube, remember, hit the subscribe button, click the little bell so you know every time we put one on there. And we're just going to jump right in. And before I do that, I do want to share a little bit. Back when I was getting started in this business, umpteen million circles around the moons ago, Larry was one of the guys that I went out and started learning from. I mean, it was the deal, or not the deal machine, the ultimate buying and selling machine. You still got that on that shelf back there somewhere?
Oh, man. I got an original right over there, still in the shrink wrap.
Original, wow.
An original from like 2002 or something.
That was back before technology ruled the world, and we were still learning from you how to bookmark everything.
There's this thing called tabbed browsing, right?
Right. Like that was like I was like, oh my gosh, look how simple this makes this. That's hilarious. But guys, I learned from him a lot of cool stuff. And not only that, but I can tell you this, that Larry is one of these guys that he's not one of these gurus. He's out there like me doing this business on an active basis. And that's why I wanted to talk to Larry, because Larry's doing some stuff that most people just won't believe. And honestly, I have a hard time with it too. So I want to bring him on and talk to him about it because, you know, he's out there finding houses that people are saying, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that, because this guy's making the same amount of money, if not more, than some of these flippers out here that are struggling to find deals, and he's doing it finding $5,000 and $10,000 houses. And so we're going to talk about that. Whether you believe it or not, I'm with you on this. I want to dig a little bit. But Larry, before we get into some of your deals, some of your deal flow that you got going on, how long ago was it when you became an investor? You want to share that?
Man, this is just, if you got some old timers on here, my very first deal was in 1986, I believe, or 85. It was an FHA, non-qualifying, assumable loan. All I had to do was sign my name, and I took over somebody's loan. Like everybody talks about sub-2 now, but you could literally assume an FHA loan back in the 80s. And they ended that in the 70s, but there was still a few of them left around in the 80s and early 90s.
So let's get that right. I just want to make sure I heard you right. You started in 1985. So I was 8 years old. You were making bread back when I was trying to figure out how to eat bread. That's awesome, man.
I love
awesome. You're going to go down in history. You know that, Larry.
That's funny.
You've
the original OG, right?
Well, you've changed a lot of lives, man. You really have. 39 plus years you've been doing this. You've seen it all, man.
Yeah.
You really have. You've seen it all. So that's a long time to be in it. So let me ask you this then. 39 whatever years ago.
35, 33, 34, 35, something like that.
35 years ago.
I need to help you with your miracle math.
Thank you, buddy. I'm trying to make you older.
35, right?
I'm trying to make you older. So what was it back then? Because we didn't have all the internet sensations back then. Like, what made you get into real estate? Was it an uncle? You read a book, you saw an infomercial?
Oh man, that's a great question. I won't take up a lot of time, but
Okay.
I love this question. My dad had recently passed away in '84, and he was 49 years old when he passed away. So here I am, and I'm still a young guy. I'm still living at home, right? So I'm living at home in my early 20s, and my mom and I go to this real estate infomercial seminar. We saw Tom Vu on the TV. Remember him?
You can have my success too.
Right. He was the short Asian guy
On the yacht with the
girls in the
models.
bikini.
Yeah.
So my mom and I went to the seminar. We signed up for the 3-day, right? And we didn't sign up for the coaching, but we signed up for the 3-day. Went through that whole thing. I eventually got my real estate license, and I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it, right? So I just went out there and started hustling. And back then, there were no RIA groups, right? No RIA groups, no meetups, no internet. An MLS was a book. You'd go by the real estate office and ask if you could borrow their MLS book, because every agent got 2 or 3 of them, right?
Wow.
So you'd get their week old, and they came out every single week. So you'd go through the MLS, and I was making offers on HUD houses way back then, but it was all manual offers back then. Now, I mean, I wrote a book about it, but you can bid on HUD houses every single day, right?
Yeah.
On the internet. And it's really, really changed. And I love technology. I used to be a technophobe, and I'm still, if I had a VCR, it'd be flashing 12 o'clock, right? But I love technology, and I've always tried to implement and integrate technology into my business, and that's what we do.
Man, I love it. Tommy Vu. I have yet to hear that one. So that's how you got in. You needed to make a change. Something wasn't going right. You knew real estate was the way. But like you said, it was much different back then. And look, I came in 17 years ago, obviously not 35 years ago, but even 17 years ago, we didn't have all this internet sensation. We didn't have all this technology. I mean, it just wasn't there. I mean, it was still go down to the courthouse, pull the book out, go through the records, look for this, look for that. But yeah, and I like to say, like, people today have a much easier entry into this business because of where it has evolved into. But talking about evolution in real estate and you as an investor, let's get into some of that. So tell me, I mean, how many deals do you guys in your office, I mean, what's your average? Are you doing 5, 10, 15 a month? I mean, where you see on the board on average a month?
That is really right on it. I would say an average of about 7 to 10, sometimes 3 to 5, depending on, like we held off on our marketing in December, right?
Yep.
And I know a lot of people, ramp it up in December because other people hold off, but we take 2 weeks off in December, right?
Yep.
Between Christmas and New Year's. So we stopped our marketing. So you got to build your pipeline up again, right?
Yep, I'm with you.
But we do everything over the phone. We buy everything over the phone. We don't go out and look at the property until we got it locked up.
I'm the same way as you are. I like that. And I think that's a good point to talk about, because some people will listen to this and they'll be like, what are they talking about? So let's talk about that. So I obviously understand why I do it. And part of why I do it is from all the people I've learned through over the years. And one being you is, I personally felt like I was just wasting too much time running around looking at houses, and by the time I would get back, they'd already be under contract. But yours was probably a little different because you're not doing all your deals in your backyard. You're doing them. You're just doing them. You do them everywhere, right?
Well, yeah, we've actually, and I've lost track. It's probably been close to 1,000 deals. I don't know how many it's been, but probably close to 1,000 deals, maybe over, I don't know, but I haven't kept track, so I don't want to throw a number out there, right? But I know I've done deals in 12 different states, right from my office here in Lake Wiley, South Carolina.
Lake Wiley. So tell me your theory of thumb that somebody would be watching this and say, oh, that's risky. I wouldn't do that. Like, you can't see the property. How do you know your offer's right? So talk to me about that. So you're on the phone, you're doing your due diligence as in numbers and making sure it makes sense. Then you're having your team send the contract. So why would someone who would hear you say that, say that's risky, but you say it's not? So why do you tell them it's not?
Man, a couple of things. Number one, if somebody says that won't work or it's risky, my first question is, how many deals did you close last month? Right? That's my first question, right? In a nice way, right? But the second thing is, and we're going to get into some of that, is guys, I'm not buying, you know, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 houses. I'm buying $2, $3, $5, $10, $20,000 houses. Okay, I mean, come on, you can buy that on a credit card, right?
But listen, I don't want to badger this or beat it to death, but explain why you're able to remove the risk. Take the price point out. Because the new person watching this, Larry, says, well, that's risky because if I put an offer on that property, now I'm obligated to buy that. Now, I have an answer to it, but I want them to hear it from you because your business is designed on this. Why is that not risky for you if they accept your offer and then obviously you can't do anything with it? Why is that not risky to you?
Well, one thing I want to explain to everyone, if you're buying a house like a HUD house or off the MLS, you're probably going to put up a $500 deposit, right? Mm-hmm. I don't put up more than that. And I always try to get a lot more deposit coming back than I put out, at least twice, sometimes 10 times as much. But if it's an MLS deal, the worst case scenario, I'm going to lose my deposit. That's the absolute worst case scenario if I do not close, right? So that's all you have an opportunity to lose is your deposit. And if you're buying the way I teach you, we're making offers, even on HUD and the MLS, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50% of the asking price. Now, if you think about it, if it's on the MLS, what had to happen for that property to get on the MLS? Number one, the realtor went and pulled comps. They looked at all the other houses that had sold in the area, and they look at the condition of that property, and based on that property and that condition, they pulled comps and they said, this house should sell for whatever it is, let's say $50,000, right? So they're gonna list it probably for $59,900, okay? And hope to get $50,000 for it. Well, if I come in and I offer 30% of that, that's $15,000. Now, I'm not gonna get all of them. I might not get 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20, but when you do get one, it's not a deal, it's a steal, right? It's a steal. And worst case scenario, even if you put it on a credit card or buy it, if you buy it at 15, you put it right back on the MLS for $49,900 again and wait on a buyer to come along. Right. Worst case scenario. But that's all I'm talking about. Now, if it's direct to seller, it's even better because we put up $100 deposit and we can get as much time. In fact, I've got a simple, standard, one-page real estate offer to purchase when dealing direct to seller, and it gives me 90 days to close that deal.
Okay, so that's where I'm going with this, Larry, because I do the same thing. You know, we have a software, we send out a lot of offers, but people say, well, what if you get them all accepted? I don't worry about it because I don't actually, like you, I don't inspect the property or that until an offer's been accepted. But we lean on that contingency because we always add, and I know some people don't do this, but we add in that we have a contingency for an inspection. So we know that's our way out. I don't care if 100 people accept my offer. If I'm inside that contingency, I'm out. And so it's not risky for me to do that.
Right. And not only that, but if you're getting too many offers accepted, you're offering way too much.
Isn't that the truth? All right. Well, listen, so we've got an idea what you're doing. You're doing it all from the phone, which is cool. It allows you to be more at home and you can reach out for more market share. Right. But let me talk about this before we get into one of the deals that you've done recently. What are your top 3? Let's talk about that. Your top 3 lead sources that you would say, look, this is where I'm getting deals from that are working for you right now.
Good. Well, first of all, everybody needs to know real estate is cyclical, okay? Yep. Right now is the time to be buying direct to seller, okay?
Okay.
You got to be marketing. Always be marketing. See, there was a time a few years ago that I got all of my deals from HUD the MLS, bank-owned foreclosures, all of them. I had zero marketing budget, zero.
I was with you. I'm with
Right,
you.
exactly, and you know the drill.
Yep.
But right now is the time to go direct to seller. And my top 3 sources right now, bar none: number 1, direct mail.
Okay.
Number 2 is RVM, ringless voicemail, and number 3 is SMS or text broadcasting.
Really? You know what? You're probably one of maybe 5 people that have said SMS. I mean, out of all the people I interview, I would say there's about 5 of you guys that leaned in on that when I asked them that question.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing about it. You get a text message, it's going to pop up just like you see right here, right?
Yep.
It's going to pop up. They don't have to open their email.
Right.
They don't have to check their voicemail.
Right.
Boom, it's there, right?
Yeah.
It's 100% delivery.
So when you're going after the list, you're just saying, hey, look, not only do I want the list, but I also want the phone numbers to any of the people on here that are not on the do not call list.
Right. You can sign up with a service, to get your list. You pull your list. Then you got to skip that list, skip trace it. There's many, many sources out there. I'm sure you recommend some, Zach.
Well, I got one right there.
There you go. So, yeah, exactly. So you skip that list, and then you put it into a system that will send them text messages.
Yep.
And you got, there's very specific laws and rules and regulations about this. So make sure you have a service that understands those laws and rules and regs.
That's what
so you don't get in trouble, right?
And you build it like a campaign, like send this text immediately, 2 weeks later, send this text. Like you just treat it just like a direct mail campaign or an email campaign. You just do it through texting, right?
Well, here's the thing with text and RVM. You got to go wide, okay? You just pull your list, you get as many of them as you can, and you send as many of them as you can, and you're gonna get one of several messages, responses back. It's like you got the wrong number, right?
Yeah.
You got the wrong number. Who are you?
Yeah.
How'd you get my number?
Yeah.
Or yes, I want to sell.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Or you get the other one. Don't ever send me another message.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
With all the explicitives.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, cool, man. That's good. I like that. So then let's do this. So the next 2 questions that I want people to understand is there's wins and there's losses in this business. And, when we win something, we want to build systems around those so that we can do them over and over again. And when we have, not wins or failures, well, maybe not a failure, I think failure is the wrong word. When we do things that didn't work out like we wanted to, we try to build processes around that and learn that as well.
We call those opportunities in disguise.
There you go. I like that better. So let's talk about a deal that you've done recently where something went really right on that deal. And you said, look, we're going to build a system and do this over and over and over again. But also something that went wrong on that one that you were able to circle your troops back up and say, look, this is something that was an opportunity in disguise, and we got to figure out how not to do that again. Is there one that you can talk about?
Sure, man. I got a bunch of them, just trying to figure out which one to talk about.
Well, look, on the wins and the losses, it doesn't have to be one specific deal. It could be, hey, look, here's one we did where we knew we did this right. Here's one we did where this was an opportunity in disguise.
We bought a house. We bought a house a little while back that we were actually, because we do a lot of seller financing, we do a lot of wholesaling as well, and this was a house that we were going to sell, and everybody, we were going to buy it and turn around and sell it. They were going to either pay cash or get a bank loan, right? Cheap house, but they were going to get a bank loan. So the challenge that came up on this one was there was cracks in the foundation, right? And every time the buyer went to get a loan, they would get a home inspection, and then they would come back and, the lender would say, no, forget about it or whatever. So here's what we did. I said, and I already knew this. I just was going to wholesale this deal. But here's what I did. I pulled it off the market and I raised the price by like $20,000 or $30,000 with owner financing, right? And I turned around and I sold that deal with owner financing, and the borrower, we disclosed it, it's right there. The borrower looked at it. I said, get an inspection if you want, but it's been there for years. It's not going to change. The house was built in the 70s and the crack's been there. You can look at it. and it wasn't even where you could put a pin through it. It's just small crack. So we ended up selling that deal with owner financing and made more money on it than if we would have wholesaled it or done a fix and flip and had to repair the foundation, right?
So that would have been something that could have been wrong, that might have made a lot of people scared or fearful, but you turned it into an opportunity because you said, hey, look, if this keeps coming up, just pull it off, raise the price, and do owner financing.
Absolutely.
Love it. So tell me something that you've dialed in on deals that are a win for you and your company. Like, you figured this out and you were like, look, this is something we got to do over and over and over again.
Sure.
On deals. Is it like processes, systems, marketing? I mean, what is something that you're doing that would be great for someone to listen to?
Man, I love this question. Here's the thing. Everybody else is chasing the big deals, right?
Yep.
They're chasing the big deals. They're going for the fix and flip. They're going for the $100,000 house, the $200,000 house, all that stuff. And even if they're wholesaling, I know guys out in the Phoenix market and some of these other hot markets that they're wholesaling a $200,000 house and making $3,000 to $6,000 on it. Yep. Right? Come on, that's not good pot odds. If you play poker, you know what I'm talking about,
yep.
right?
Yep.
So what I love is I love the cheap houses, Zach. You know that. Mm-hmm. I love the cheap houses. We buy houses for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, right? And here's the thing. If it's a $30,000 house and I pick it up for 10 grand, okay? You might think, oh my gosh, how in the world did he do that? It's a lot easier to buy a $30,000 house for 10 grand than it is to buy a $300,000 house for 100 grand. It's the same ratio, right?
True.
But think about this. A $30,000 house, I don't care what the market is, it's always pretty much going to be about a $30,000 house. That $300,000 house, if it's in Vegas or in, wherever,
Arizona,
Denver, Colorado,
yeah,
or Orlando, that $300,000 house could literally go to 200, 150, something like that when the economy turns, right? Mm-hmm. A $30,000 house in small town USA is always going to be about a $30,000 house. And if I'm paying a third to a half of that, I can't lose. Right. I cannot lose. And then what we do, we turn around and sell that for 3 to 6 times what we paid for it with owner financing, a land contract, or a lease option, depending on a lot of different things.
I understand. The state, right. The county, yeah.
Right. The condition of the property is the main thing.
Yeah.
Right? So we turn around and sell it for 3 to 6 times what we paid for it with owner financing, and check this out, payments less than rent. And then we get our buyer to put some money down. So we've got literally, 20, 30% of what we've got in it back. And now they're making payments to us. You could literally put that on a credit card and pay 18% and get a cash flow.
I like it, because you're overcoming the objections of like bank financing, inspections, approvals. You're like, hey, look, and if you're amortizing this thing, let's say you are paying 10 for it and you're selling it for 45, they're really ended up paying you 90 for this thing.
Oh yeah, you can finance it over 10, 15, sometimes 20 years.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. People talk about, yeah, Larry, but what if they stop paying? Come on. That's the best thing that can happen.
Because you got that money already.
Yeah, listen, there's several things that can happen, Number one, right, is they pay as agreed, right? They pay as agreed. Number two is they default and you resell it. You get another down payment and you get the payments coming back in, right?
I think what people are missing on that is that they're not realizing you're getting a chunk of money up front.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. I got that same bag too,
You're getting a chunk up front, plus you're getting it. And that's a good point you say that, because I've had people say to me, well, if I do one of these seller financing deals and I put somebody in it, what if they don't pay? And I said, well, if you buy a rental house and someone doesn't pay, what do you do? Well, we get them out and put another tenant in. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
okay. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So here's a tough question for you, though. So some of these deals obviously aren't in your market.
Right.
And many of your students follow the same process. I know when I started, my first virtual deal I ever did was following your training, and I did it in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, baby.
And I was living in California. I've learned a lot of things that helps me do more virtual deals. But what would you say to somebody who's watching this saying, yeah, but I'm not going to get on a plane and go look at it, and I'm not going to do this? Like, how do you help them, understand that they don't have to go look at it, or do you systemize that? And, are there processes that you put in place to help them get a better understanding of the deal?
Well, I'm a big checklist guy and systems and process guy. I like creating them. I don't use them because I've been doing it long enough, but
Understand.
I like creating them, and our team uses them. But here's the thing: if you got a $30,000 house you're paying 10 grand for, come on, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah. But what's but here, let's just be honest, Larry.
Sure.
You've done it long enough that you're comfortable with it. Brand new
You're
person.
absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely
Brand
right.
new person's watching this, right? They're like, yeah, but he's been doing it forever. He understands the numbers. He's blah, blah, blah. Brand new person. How does that person get comfortable with doing that? Is there like somebody that they should be, building a team locally in that area?
Good.
I mean, like, talk us through that.
Sure. Well, there's several things you can do, okay? Number one, you drive the street on Google. You look at the neighborhood. You look at the area. Are there boarded up houses? Does it look like a rental neighborhood? Does it look like an owner-occupant neighborhood? In other words, what I mean by that is there pride of ownership in the area? Do you see flowers planted, ornaments and stuff out in the yard, wind chimes hanging off the porch and stuff like that?
No boarded up windows, car sitting on blocks. Yeah.
Exactly. So pride of ownership, look at the neighborhood, drive the street. You're also going to pull comps. You're going to pull comps and you're going to look at all the different comps around, right? 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, whatever it is, what do they look like, okay? Next thing you can do is look at the crime in the area. If you're buying in, say, Dayton, Ohio, there's going to be some crime in certain areas, right?
Yep.
I love buying in small town. Here's what I do. I take the MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area. I'm in the Charlotte MSA. Charlotte is right across the bridge from me, right? I'm in the Charlotte MSA. It's been about 7 or 8 years since I bought a house in Charlotte. I go out 2 counties. I have no competition, right? I have no competition, and I can pick them up for 20, 30 cents on the dollar. Now, everybody says, yeah, but Larry, what about selling them? You're in small town USA. What about selling them? There's no buyers. Guess what? I only need 1. I only need 1 per house. Come on. And when you run an ad that says, why rent when you can own, payments to fit your budget, payments less than rent, for a deserving family with a reasonable down payment. Come on, your phone rings off the hook.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
Sometimes they'll give you as much down as you paid for the house.
That is true, actually. I've seen that here
for that,
because I'm in northern Alabama, right? Like sometimes we'll pick up a house for 17 and people will give you 20 grand, to come in on. Yeah. No, you're right. I like that. I'm not trying to pry. I'm just thinking about the viewers and the listeners, right?
No. But there's other things you can do as well, Zach. You can reach out to a local property manager.
Yep.
Reach out to a local RIA meeting, a RIA group, leadership, get a meetup or whatever. Talk to the leadership, tell them about your house in this area. What do they think about the area? All that. Ride by and look at the house. Find a local boots on the ground on Facebook groups or meetup, and also call a local realtor.
No, I'm with you. And I know, these shows are a little short, but I've asked you to come back and do a full training with me on what you do. And I appreciate you doing that. So guys, those of you that are watching this and you're saying, man, I got to know what this guy's doing. Well, trust me, I did too when I got started. I flew from California to South Carolina to learn from him.
Yeah, man, I'm getting triple-digit returns on these things too.
I bet you are, man. That's amazing. So guys, listen, we've got a lot more questions, but I just want to help you guys out. So in the description of this video, there's going to be a link. I've invited Larry to come back and do a full training on what he does. If if you're like, man, I got to figure out what this guy's doing, you don't have to fly from California to South Carolina. You can do it from home. And I'm going to dig in a little bit more on his system in that training, because I know it sounds great, but you need to know a little bit more about what he's doing. So I've asked Larry to come back and do a full training on this. So this is great. Larry, let's dig into a deal that you've done in the last week or 2 weeks. I want to go through some of your real numbers on these things. So talk to me about a deal. How you got it? Where is it at? Let's start there first.
Well, direct mail, we always start out, the phone rings. That's probably primarily what we do. We mail out about 25,000 pieces a month, something like that. Right?
In multiple markets.
We're in about 7 different counties. 2 counties out from the MSA.
Okay, got you.
A couple of counties out from the MSA, right? And we got this person that called about this little house. It's in Cleveland County, North Carolina, right? Okay. Cleveland County, 2 counties out, and we end up picking up the house for $2,000. Now,
was it a burn? Like, did you need to gut this thing? I mean, was it a bulldozer?
Little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, right? Okay. 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It did need a lot of work, okay? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will inherit a house, or they haven't been there in years, or they're an out-of-state owner. This one, I believe, was an out-of-state owner, and, hadn't been there in a couple of years, right? And I always tell people, that really makes me nervous because, the longer a house is vacant, the more run down it gets and the worse it gets. After they've been vacant a couple of years, they really start to go downhill fast, right? So we end up getting this deal for a couple grand. And listen, to be able to make 3-digit returns, you only need to sell the property for 3 to 6 times what you paid for it, right? But I typically don't sell anything for less than $29,900 and get $3,000 down, 10% down. So you sell it for $29,900, right? You get $3,000 down, right? So you're financing.
So that's your money back.
You're financing $26,900 is what you're financing, right? So you got your money back. Yep. Plus, now we try to get them to pay closing costs, but depending on the person, we may pay closing costs. This one needed a little bit more work. So now we got $354 a month coming in for the next 10 years.
$350 a month coming in for the next 10 years.
354, yeah.
354. And you're amortizing these, right?
Oh yeah. We'll amortize them because it's not. So
really, you're not selling this thing for $29,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be the sticker price, but because it's amortized for 10-year amortization or 20-year, you're probably really selling this thing for $40,000 or even $50,000 by the time they're done with their payments.
Well, it's not quite that much because it's only 10 years. And what I try to do, you can increase your yield by keeping your term as short as you can. Mm-hmm. So I ask them, Zack, how much can you handle per month and feel comfortable with? Well, I can handle $300. Well, if you really like the house and you're not renting anymore and I can make you a homeowner, can you handle $600? No. How close can you come? I can do $400. Could you do $450? Right? I mean, that's kind of the way it goes.
Yep, I'm with you. Because then you get their payment and then you structure, once you identify their payment, then you can structure the back end off the payment.
Exactly.
I'm with you. Okay. And look, some of you probably just listened to all of that and you're like, what in the world are they talking about?
And don't take all their money either. If they only have $3,000, you're not going to take all that. They need a little bit of moving money.
Yeah.
They got to get their utilities set up, all that stuff. If they got $5,000, I'll take $3,000.
Well, and they might need some extra furniture now that they've got a bigger house. So I'm with you, man. Okay, so on that deal, so we're talking about this deal. You paid $2,000 for it. You sold it for $29,900. You got $3,000 up front. You helped with some closing fees. What would you say overall? What do you end up? What do you think you'll end up profiting off of a $2,000 investment?
Well, it depends on if I get to sell it again, right?
Well, let's just say this buyer executes.
If this buyer executes, let me just pull up. I can pull up my handy dandy financial calculator here.
The ultimate financial calculator,
right?
You used to have a calculator in your system. I remember.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was thinking about another one on the payment. The payment on this is actually $340.76. Okay. And if that amortizes out times 120. That's $40,890.
Look at that.
So we made an extra 10 grand.
That's what I said, about 40 to 50.
You're right. You're right.
Oh man, that's why I love the Amber. It's the eighth wonder of the world, right? So
There you go.
so that's amazing. A $2,000-$3,000 investment, you'll end up making 40. So let's say 37,000 on a $3,000 investment.
Yeah.
Golly,
But now you got to service that. There's multiple ways to service it. You can have a third-party servicer. You can do it in QuickBooks. You could do it on a spreadsheet.
So your third-party servicers, do they like report it to like the credit bureau and all that for them to help them build their credit?
You can get them to do that, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't, because I use that as leverage if they get behind on the payments. And I number one, I try to do a loan modification. If somebody defaults, I do a loan mod, right? I do a loan modification. It's a simple one-page agreement that says instead of your payments being this, they're going to be this for the next 3 or 6 months, right? Until you get in a better position.
Yep.
So I'll do a loan mod with them, right? And if I can't do a loan mod, if they fail out of the loan mod, then I'll give them a little bit of moving money to move out.
Cash for keys, right?
And I'll let them know, hey, look, if you don't pay, you can't stay, right? So what I'm going to do is I want to help you. I really like you guys. I want to help you. So what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of moving money. And instead of reporting a foreclosure on your credit that will prevent you from buying anything else, we'll both sign the document saying it's never, as if it never happened. Right?
I like that.
Which is really a land contract cancellation.
Yes.
Which I need anyway.
Yes, you do. To get that ownership back. So let's talk about this. Look, you're over here talking about finding $3,000 houses, making $37,000 on them, finding $8,000, $10,000, $20,000 houses. But man, let's just be honest. There's people watching this that's like, oh, that's only going to be in South Carolina. Like, how real is it out there? I mean, you've got students. Like, how real is it? How real is it?
I got students in the U.S., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China, Israel, the Philippines, Ireland, Chile, and Denmark, and Puerto Rico, right? So I got them everywhere, man. And it doesn't mean, I don't care where you live, it doesn't mean you have to buy right there. Some of my most successful students live on the West Coast where the prices look like phone numbers, right? Foreign phone numbers.
Yeah.
And they're buying in Arkansas, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Dayton, Ohio, Huntsville, Alabama. They're buying in all these. They're buying in all these areas, right? And some of them even buying in the Carolinas, where I am, right? So, I'm not concerned about the competition, and that's not an excuse. People saying it don't work where I live, right?
Okay, but what my question is how realistic is it for somebody, if they were going to follow your process, how realistic is it for somebody to find 1 or 2 of these deals a month?
Well, number one, you don't find them, you create them. Okay. Everybody
says,
says, Larry, I can't find a deal, or even better, Larry, where did you get that deal? Hey, when I got it, it wasn't a deal. I had to create a deal. That's why I'm making offers on deals, right? And guys, it's not just the $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 house. If you're a wholesaler, if you're doing wholesaling or you're doing fix and flip, it's another tool to add to your toolbox. Let me give you another example, Zach. We had a deal a while back that I was going to wholesale. It was a higher price deal because I love the cheaper houses for the seller financing because it's triple digit returns, right? So I had this deal. This guy called in. I got on the phone with him. I did the whole deal over the phone. I needed to be at 60,000, right? He was stuck at 82. He would not go a penny less than 82. So that's not a fix and flip. It's not a seller finance deal where I can seller finance it for 3 to 6 times what I paid for it, right?
Yep.
So think about this. How am I going to make money on this deal? So I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, if I could get you your price, would you be willing to owner finance it, right? And receive payments, because not only are you going to get your price, but you told me you were just going to put the money in the bank anyway. What are the banks paying? 1%? I can get you 5%, and you'll have that spread out over the next 20 years. And now you've got passive income, cash flow, and it'll save you on your taxes because of what's called the installment sale. And we'll go into that more on the webinar. But, you know, it'll save him a lot of money and get his price. He's like, yeah, I kind of like the sound of that.
Wow.
So I got the guy to agree to $82,000 owner financing, no money down.
Wow. 90
days until the first payment, non-recourse, fully assumable. So I advertised the property. Check this out. Move-in ready, needs TLC, $99,900, $18,000 down with owner financing. No bank qualifying. Your down payment is your credit.
Yep.
And it only took about 2 weeks to find a good qualified buyer that had 20 grand to put down, 18 to pay me, right? That's what I made. I made 18 on it. And then a couple $1,000s in closing costs, right? And I tell my sellers this up front. I say, look, I'm not going to be the one making your payments if I do this kind of deal. I'm not going to be the one making your payments. I'm going to find somebody else that has money to put in the deal, right? And who would you rather pay in you? Me that has nothing invested, or somebody else that put 20 grand down?
Right. And that's where you do the third-party payment service too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That keeps everybody safe. I love that. So Larry, let me just ask you, I mean, how many deals do you got out there that are financed like this, that are making you payments every month? I mean, you know, some people say, oh, I've got... Okay. Well, listen, I want to talk about the next question.
It's not much. It's not very much at all. But
I mean, I'm just thinking like, man, if you started getting, next thing you know, you could have, you know, 30, 40, 50 of these houses rocking and rolling. And if you did it right, you put them all in different entities. So you kind of separate yourself from some of the legal side of this business of seller financing. And
I'm going to show on the webinar, okay? I've been really working on this, Zach. I'm going to show on the webinar how somewhere between 12 and 36 months, you can become financially independent doing this.
Wow, really?
I'm going to run through the numbers. I'm going to do the math and show you exactly what to do and how to do it. You can start full-time, part-time, or spare time. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do and how to do it, where depending on how aggressive you are, how much time you have, right, to get started, you can become literally financially independent with, in other words, replacing your job.
Yep.
Passive income in the next 12 to 36 months.
Got it. That's awesome. I appreciate you doing that for us, man. Okay, man. So listen, you've shared a ton with us here. I appreciate you. And I know you got a lot more to share. I'm excited. Guys, make sure you click the link in the description. Come join us on this new training that we're going to be doing, just digging into it. I love this. How to set yourself into financial independence in the next 12 to 36 months. I love the fact that you're going to be kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit more on your business, on how you're making more money on $5,000 to $10,000 houses than people are out here buying $100,000 and $200,000 houses. I love that. Let me ask you this. Where do you see your business going over the next 12 months?
Well, it's funny you asked. You know, Zach, I used to travel and speak and teach and share the stage. You've spoken at my events, I've spoken at your events and stuff like that. But, you know, I got to the point where, just like you, Zach, I love being at home, being with the family. I don't want to travel anymore, so I don't do that. I love just staying here and doing deals, right?
Yep.
I got a small team out here. They're doing deals, but guess what? I still love being on the phone. So we have goals. We got plans. We have things that we're doing. We're growing the business. I'm getting ready to make 2 new hires for 2 more acquisition people. We're getting ready to ramp up a little bit more with our direct mail. I have 3 virtual assistants in the Philippines that are working with us. So we're ramping things up a little bit, but really, we're stashing cash for the crash right now.
I'm with you, man.
Right?
I'm with you.
We're getting
I'm
ready.
with you.
Even though a $30,000 house is always going to be a $30,000 house, if I could pick up that $30,000 house at 15 now, after the crash, after November of this year, you know, 2021, 22-ish, you're going to be able, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, but.
Hold on, I do. I got the magic 8 ball, man.
There you go, baby. So, but yeah, we're going to be able to pick up those same $30,000 houses instead of 15, pick them up for 5 to 10.
I'm with you. I've been saying that I've probably been saying that the last year, Larry, is like, look, right now we're in a cash grab cycle. Grab as much cash as you can. Grab as much cash as you can, because then when it turns, you will be cash is king theory. Because you'll be able to walk in and buy things dirt cheap. Because it's coming. We made it. Look, you've made it through probably 2 of them. I've made it through 1 of them, right? And one thing I learned through the last crash is I should have had more cash built up.
Right.
That was what I learned, because I went all in, and what I did buy during the crash, I made huge profits on them when I sold them. Exactly. And I think back and go, man, if I would have bought 3 times that or 4 times that, where I would have been, you know? Well, cool. I love that. And you answered my next one, where you think where the market's going. You shared that a little bit. Last question before I get into the hot fire questions, and I'll let you get out of here, Larry. What's the best advice you give to somebody that's watching this or listening that's brand new, have not ever done a deal before, they're trying to figure it out, they're in a job they don't like, they know this is what they need to do? What would you say to that person?
You know, everybody you ask that person to, Zach, I guarantee you they say, take action, take action, take action, right?
Some do.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people do, right? What I would like to say in addition to taking action is find something, some system, some strategy, something, some one thing just to get started with, and latch onto it and do it. Everybody has the shiny object syndrome, right? Yeah. It's like you're over here, you're working, you got this script going, you got this software, you got this, you're digging in. It's like, oh, here comes, let's go over here, right? So you got to find something and latch onto it. It's okay to add tools to your toolbox. If you're already doing deals, right? Add tools to your toolbox, add different strategies, but find something, do your research, right? Nothing wrong with getting on webinars and learning. I watch podcasts every single day, Zach. I know you started working out. I've been working out too. I run 3 miles every single day, right?
I'm getting a mile in every day. I finally got my mile down to 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Hey, that's a big goal for me. Because when I did my first one, when I got back into it, I was at almost 15 minutes for my first mile.
Wow. Well, you know what? When I first started, I was the same way, Zach, and I'm 59 years old. How old are you?
42.
Wow. See, we're a little ways apart. So, but when I started, it took me 45 minutes to run 3 miles. That's 15 minutes a mile, right? Yeah. So now I'm down to, I can run 3 miles in 30 minutes, right? That's 10 minutes per mile, or 6 miles an hour. And I know you hit 6 miles an hour the other day. I saw you put a post out.
Yeah, I got a new one to put out. I got it down to 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, baby. That's awesome. That is great.
You know what? That's good advice, though, Larry. I say this too. I tell them all the time, especially at my RIA when they come in, what should I do? What should I do? Somewhere along your line, I say, look, pick one thing and get it working first. Because you wouldn't go out and open 5 companies at the same time.
Right.
So pick one, get it working, get it dialed in, get making money, and then add on another one, So that's good advice, man. I love it. All right, man, here's my hot fire questions. Are you ready?
I reckon.
All right. Here we go. Where's the best place you ever went on vacation?
Turks and Caicos.
Ooh, love that one. What was your first automobile?
1968 Chevrolet Chevelle Super Sport 396 with a 4-speed and a 411 rear end.
Oh my goodness. The car lovers will get that. What's your favorite season or holiday?
Summer.
Hey, what's the best podcast that you've watched or listened to lately besides yours and mine?
You know I was going to say yours, right?
I know.
I love the Carrot Cast.
Okay, awesome.
I love the Carrot Cast.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food right now, it's salmon, because I'm trying to eat healthy.
Good job, brother. Good job, man. Good job. I was just admiring my skin on this thing. I was like, boy, my skin's looking really good. I've been eating healthy and drinking a lot of water. Hey, are you an early riser or do you sleep in?
I get up at 5:30-ish,
Yep.
and go down to I used to have a gym membership at the Y,
Mm-hmm.
and I love their treadmill, love it, but I don't like having to get out in the cold weather and go drive over there and drive back. So then they have like $10,000 treadmills there, right? And rows of them.
Yep.
So, but that's the treadmill I wanted. So just like in real estate, I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I found one for $1,000 and bought it and put it in my house.
There you go. Love that. So what's one of your favorite books or a book you've read here lately that's really impacted you?
Oh, lately, man. Lately was one by John Maxwell. Good leaders ask great questions.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
It's
Look,
a great
man,
book.
you probably know about this one.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I think I have it in my Audible, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, that one's, man, that's a mind opener there, buddy.
This is one that people need to. This is one that people need to get into.
The one thing, right?
Yeah, because we talked about find something and focus on it.
Yes. Love it. All right, Larry, final question for you. What's the favorite movie of all times?
Vegas Vacation.
I love it. Hey, that's awesome, man. I love asking that question. It tells the personality of people.
I know, right?
Hey, guys, you've heard it here. Right here on our Coffee with Closer shows, we're interviewed Larry Goins, probably one of the smartest investors out there on how to get away from what everybody else is doing and still make what everybody else is doing. I love that about what he does. I'm fortunate that we got him to come back and do a more intense training on what he's doing in his company. So make sure you click the link in the description. Make sure you check that out and come out and watch us do that. It's very important you do that. Larry, thank you, my friend, for being here. Thank you for all that you do to this industry. Thank you for being one of my first mentors into this business as well, man.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. It's great to have seen you grow and what you're doing, not only in real estate, but became your own guru and travel around the country and speak and teach and all that good stuff. And I remember when you used to come to my events.
I know, right? I don't like the word guru.
Yeah, well, I don't either, but everybody knows what it means. So
yeah, I like to say that I'm not your guru.
Yeah, I'm not your guru.
But yeah, I got out there and traveled and flew. I was doing what all you guys were doing, right? I was following along with you, but I got real clear that I didn't want to do that anymore.
You know what, Zach? You know what? And let's just get real here for a minute.
Yeah.
We all talk about, when we're out there educating people, we talk about lifestyle, freedom, and all that. But then we're getting on a plane and we're going away from our family and our kids, and we see nothing but planes, airports, hotels, and Ubers, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that you, at your age, was able to realize, man, this is not what I want, right?
Yeah, no, I tell everybody, it hit me when my daughter was 2 years old, and I walked in and she was like, who, what, who are you? And I was like, all right, I got to stop this, man.
Well, it hit me when I woke up at home one morning wondering where I was.
Oh, jeez. But here, let's call it what it is. Since some transparency here is, we get invited to go speak and share our story and share our message. And there's so much empowerment in that to affect other people and change other people's lives. Right. And you really enjoy it. I know I enjoyed it. I loved going out and sharing my story and how I was able to make it and the things that I did in my business. But somewhere in there, you kind of get caught into that whole travel, because then everybody wants you to come. Oh, come to this event, speak at my event. And you're like, okay. But like you said, it's right. Not what we're supposed to do. I mean, I didn't need to do that. I got real estate. I got all my stuff going. I didn't need to. And, but yeah, a lot of people get caught up in that. But other than that, I just appreciate you, Larry, for all that you've given to this community and the time you've served it. And you're still kicking butt in real estate. And that says a lot, man. So I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate that.
Guys, follow Larry, look him up, get on his page, click the link, join us on our next training. It's going to be a lot more of this, but more in depth. He's going to talk about how to get you financially independent in the next 12 to 36 months and how to make more money on a $5,000 to $10,000 house than most people make in $100,000 to $200,000 house. Join us, guys. It's going to be great. This is Zack Attack on another Coffee with Closers. Don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.